My name is Rebecca Portnoff. Today I'll be presenting work done by myself and my colleagues from UCSD, NYU, and ICSE. In this work, we build and assess tools for the automated grouping of sex ads for the purpose of detecting those ads that indicate signs of human trafficking. Sex trafficking and slavery remain amongst the most grievous issues the world faces, supporting a multi-billion-dollar industry that cuts across all nationalities and people groups. With the advent of the internet, many new avenues have opened up to support this pernicious business, including sites for online classified ads selling sex. The relative anonymity of these sites make a pimp or trafficker's job easier. None of these ads explicitly state any coercion. The ads are either written as if from the perspective of the victim herself, or describing the victim being sold in the third person, with no mention of a pimp or trafficker in either case. These sites, Backpage in particular, the site that we focused on in this work, are widely known to be popular domains used by traffickers to advertise their victims. So these ad sites provide a significant source of potentially incriminating data for law enforcement. Unfortunately, monitoring them is a labor-intensive task. The rate of new ads per day can reach into the thousands, depending on the website. In addition, the nature of the advertising content can have a uniquely damaging psychological toll on its viewers. This problem space is made all the more difficult by the dearth of ground truth, that is, ads that are known to be tied to trafficking activity versus other consensual activity. So in conversation with our NGO and law enforcement collaborators, we have found that there's a real need for tools able to group ads by their true owner. Such a tool would allow officers to confidently use timing and location information to distinguish between ads posted by women voluntarily in this industry versus those by women and children forcibly trafficked. For example, groups of ads posted by the same owner that advertise multiple different women across multiple different state lines at a high ad output rate is a strong indicator of trafficking. Now, the current tools that exist to group ads by owners all use hard identifiers, phone numbers and email address links, to define ownership. This is the best link currently available. Unfortunately, these hard identifiers are insufficient. Criminal organizations regularly change their phone numbers or use burner phones, and the cost of creating a new email address, as we all know, is quite low. This creates a serious false negative problem. Ads that are actually connected don't appear to be so. In fact, law enforcement officers working in this space prefer and have a high tolerance for false positives. They care much more about finding every victim, even if it means they are spending extra time to do so. So our goal in this work was to develop tools and techniques to automatically distinguish which ads are owned by the same person or persons, using other features of the ads that go beyond just hard identifiers. Before I jump into the tools, I'm going to provide some background on the data we used. We focused our analysis and case study on data from the online classified ad site Backpage. Although Backpage offers a wide variety of different types of classified listings, in this work, we focus our attention on the adult entertainment listings, which contain about 80% of the United States market for online sex ads in America. Any person who has an email address can register for an account on Backpage and post ads. On July 1st, 2015, Visa and MasterCard stopped processing transactions for adult listings on Backpage, which caused Backpage to switch to Bitcoin payments for all paid adult ads. As of January 9th, 2017, the adult listing section of the website has been blocked in response to ongoing legal action against Backpage for their role in the marketing of minors. All of our data was collected before that point. So we have two different forms of access to this data. First, we have a collection of about 1 million unique ads occurring from 2008 to 2014. In this table, an author here is an entity tied to a set of hard identifiers that co-occur in any given ad. Second, we ourselves conducted a scrape from December 11th, 2016 to January 9th, 2017, collecting every single adult ad placed in the United States on Backpage every hour. So the other main source of data we used in this work was Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a decentralized, peer-to-peer pseudonymous payment system where users can transfer Bitcoin, a digital currency, amongst one another in the form of transactions. Bitcoin is owned by a wallet. A transaction consists of an owner of a Bitcoin transferring ownership of that Bitcoin to another wallet. Bitcoin is pseudonymous in that all transactions from a single wallet are linked to the same owner, but the same person can use many different wallets, and these transactions will not be directly linkable. Every single transaction in the history of Bitcoin is stored and publicized in a transaction ledger known as the blockchain after it has been accepted as a valid transaction. Before that point, the transaction first appears in a temporary storage area known as a mempool. Once a transaction has been verified as valid, it's removed from the mempool and included into the permanent blockchain. So a lot of merchants are going to wait until a valid Bitcoin transaction is included in the blockchain before they consider it to be completed. That can take about 5 minutes on average to occur. However, if the network is overloaded, this delay time can increase to several hours. So because of this delay, some merchants, including Backpage, choose to not wait, and they just accept the payment as completed once a valid Bitcoin transaction appears in the mempool. So by placing ads ourselves, we found that it took less than a minute for the ad to appear on the Backpage listings page after the transaction appeared in the mempool. So to collect all the transactions appearing in the mempool, we continuously, once per minute, snapshot the mempool state from October 24th, 2016 to January 20th, 2017, obtaining the timestamp and the Bitcoin value of the approximately 16 million transactions made during that time. We further filter this down to just those transactions that were sending Bitcoin to Backpage using a variety of Bitcoin clustering techniques that you can read about in the paper. So let's take this information and look specifically at paid ads on Backpage. For each invoice for a paid ad, Backpage dynamically generates a fresh wallet address, along with the Bitcoin amount equivalent to the cost of the ad. If the user has money already credited to their Backpage account, they can use that to purchase the ad. A user can add credit to their account by purchasing Bitcoin or by sending in a hand-mailed check. Alternatively, the user can just pay directly for the ad in the moment using Bitcoin that they own, either transferring Bitcoin from their own personal wallet or using a third-party wallet service like Paxful. Once the transaction has been added to the mempool, Backpage will alert the user that the ad has been posted, and within a minute, you'll find it on the main listings page. So now let's talk about the tools and techniques. As I stated before, our goal in this work was to develop tools to automatically distinguish which ads are owned by the same person or persons using other features of the ads that go beyond just hard identifiers. We designed 2 such techniques. The first is a machine learning classifier that determines whether any 2 ads are written by the same or different authors using the stylometry or the writing style of the author of the ad. The second is a technique that links specific ads to the Bitcoin transaction that paid for them, using the cost of placing the ad and the time at which the ad was placed. As far as we are aware, this is the first work to explore this connection between paid ads and the Bitcoin blockchain, and to attempt to link specific purchases to specific transactions on the Bitcoin blockchain. Finally, we designed 2 different methodologies that combine our classifier, linking technique, and existing hard identifiers to group ads by owner. We assessed our stylometry classifier on test sets of randomly sampled sex ads labeled by hard identifier, and evaluated our linking technique on ads that we purchased and placed ourselves on Backpage. Finally, we evaluated our 2 methodologies in a case study on 4 weeks of scraped sex ads from Backpage. So I'll start with the classifier. Our classifier takes as input any 2 ads appearing on a site and extracts the authorship similarity, determining whether the ads are written by the same or different authors. We took a supervised labeling approach, labeling a randomly sampled subset of the data using hard identifiers, and then using those annotations to train our classifier to label the rest. We experimented with 2 different sets of features, our baseline, write prints limited, and Jakarta structure. You can find the details about the features in the paper. We assessed our classifier on strictly non-overlapping sets of authors between the training and testing data sets, in order to ensure that the classifier was actually learning the concept of same versus different, and not just learning the stylometry of a particular set of authors. The results are good, about 90 TPR with 1 FPR. This indicates that the classifier is truly learning the concept of same versus different. It's also especially necessary for the domain of sex trafficking, where new victims are recruited daily, and there's no guarantee of a permanent set of traffickers persisting through time. Now our linking technique. This technique assumes that we have the full set of ads from the target ad listing site, that we know the cost of posting each ad on the site, that we have the timestamp of each ad's first appearance on the site, and we have the set of Bitcoin transactions whose output wallet belongs to the target site. The mechanism for collecting the timestamp data and rebuilding the cost for an ad is going to vary from site to site. Later on, I'll discuss how we did both for Backpage. So, for each transaction, we consider that transaction to be a possible match for a particular ad if the cost of posting that ad equals the Bitcoin value of the transaction, and the difference between the timestamp of the ad's first appearance on the listings page and the timestamp when the transaction is first observed on either the mempool or the blockchain, depending on the business, is less than some threshold. The value of that threshold depends on the ad site. As I mentioned before, for Backpage, it's 1 minute. Now, it's important to note that the matching of a transaction to an ad could be a false positive, where the transaction isn't actually the true transaction that paid for that ad. This could happen, for example, if the ad wasn't paid for using Bitcoin, and there just happened to be a transaction for some other purchase around the same time with the same cost. False negatives are also possible in the case where the price on the ad was wrongly reconstructed, and therefore the right transaction didn't get matched to its corresponding ad. So to evaluate our linking technique, we placed 25 Backpage ads, 24 paid for and 1 free. To reconstruct the price of an ad, we reverse engineered the exact algorithm used by Backpage by placing several ads ourselves and studying the HTML of the price payment page. So to calculate the price of an ad, you need to know all the premium features purchased for that ad. You can recreate this if you know 1, how often an ad is moved to the top of the main listings page. This can happen at a high frequency of at most once an hour. 2, how many locations it's been posted to. And 3, how long it's highlighted on the side of the main listings page. So to collect this information, we wrote a ton of scrapers. First, we wrote a scraper that scraped every hour all of the listings pages for all 67 regions in the United States for all 7 adult entertainment subcategories. We extracted the timestamp during the scrape to determine the first appearance of an ad and all subsequent appearances. In parallel, we also ran a separate scraper that collected the pricing information once a day for each of the 67 regions and 7 subcategories, as the cost of a premium feature can vary depending on the region and subcategory to which it's posted. Finally, we ran one last scraper that collected the first page of the main listings page once a day for each region and for each subcategory in order to collect the full set of highlighted ads. We found that we correctly calculated the exact price for 24 of the 25 ads. For the wrong ad, the hourly scraper missed one time where the ad was moved to the top of the main listings page because that move happened to occur right on the hour, so the price is calculated incorrectly. Looking at the 24 transactions that we used to purchase the paid ads, we found that overall our technique is successful. The vast majority of the transactions, 23 of 24, either directly matched to the true ad, in the case of the 7 transactions that only matched to one ad, or they matched to a set of ads where one of those ads was the true ad. The one exception was the ad that I previously noted that had the wrong price calculated due to the scraping error. So let's discuss the first of our methodologies to group ads by their true owner. Our ultimate goal is to map an ad to its true owner wallet from among all of the potential options, that is, the entire set of wallet addresses that appear on the blockchain. Our first method tackles this problem by finding a wallet address that links together multiple existing hard identifiers. So in practice, we found that the mapping between a transaction and an ad is many-to-many. A transaction can match with many ads, and an ad in turn can match with many transactions. To mitigate this issue, we developed 3 criteria when matching an ad to an owner wallet. First, we're only interested in wallets where for each transaction made by that wallet, no other wallet contributed any money into that transaction. So here you see there's no wallet 2 or wallet 3 that acts as inputs to any of the transactions made by wallet 1. Second, each transaction should be an exact match to an ad. In other words, that transaction matches to exactly one ad, and the ad it matches to also matches only to that transaction. This criteria reduces the probability of having a false match between a transaction from a wallet and the ad matching that transaction. Third, each wallet should be able to reach at least 3 ads with the same hard identifier. This reachability and the shared hard identifier suggests that this wallet 1 is likely to be the true owner for at least those 3 ads, ad 1, ad 2, and ad 3. Finally, in an effort to link together multiple hard identifiers, we added one more criteria. Each wallet should be able to reach at least 2 sets of ads with different hard identifiers. This suggests that those hard identifiers here, A and B, are likely to be related because they all use the same wallet to pay for the ads. So when evaluating this methodology, we're starting from a tough place. We don't have any ground truth. This is real-time data with no existing labels to tell us whether or not the connected hard identifiers we found are actually connected. Instead, we used text cues for our evaluation. Specifically, we look at each pair of hard identifiers found to be connected by a wallet and only define those 2 hard identifiers to be truly connected if at least one of the ads from each hard identifier share the exact same title, the same emojis, the same spacing, the same text, everything. We then assess the entire wallet by seeing how many clusters of connected hard identifiers we get when linking them together by title in this way. The ideal is 1, where we find that all pairs of hard identifiers share at least one ad title with all others. The worst case scenario is n clusters, where n is the number of hard identifiers grouped under that wallet, meaning that no title connection was found between any of the pairs of hard identifiers in that wallet. Our second method tackles the problem of mapping an ad to its true owner wallet by finding a wallet address that is persistent. We define a persistent Bitcoin identity to be any wallet that sends the change from each of its transactions back into itself, rather than passing on that change to another wallet. Here we have two criteria. First, as before, we only care about wallets where, for each transaction, there's no other wallet that sent money into that transaction. Second, we require that at least one of the wallet's transactions be an exact match for an ad. Here, transaction 1 and ad exact are an exact match. For the remaining transactions, here, transaction 2, we're going to use our authorship classifier to find the most likely true matching ad out of the existing options. So transaction 2 matches to both ad 2 and ad 3. We're going to pair ad 2 and ad 3 each with the ad exact match that we found before. Whichever ad pairing returns with the highest probability of being written by the same author, that ad, here ad 2, is going to be considered the true ad that matches to the transaction. So again, we have this ground truth problem. We step around that by using hard identifiers to evaluate. First, we look at the ads that were not an exact match. In the previous example, ads 2 and ad 3 that match transaction 2. We conclude that we found the true ad match only in the case where exactly one of those ads, either ad 2 or ad 3, shares the same hard identifier as the exact match ad. Secondly, we look at the case where the wallet had multiple transactions with an exact ad match, so if we had multiple transaction ones. We consider those exact ad matches to be true only in the case where every single exact ad shares the same hard identifier. Okay, so now let's talk about our case study. Using all the scraping setup that I described previously, we extracted about 750,000 unique ads during the 4-week time period. For each of those ads, we calculated the cost to place it, finding that the vast majority, over 500,000, were free. Since both of our methodologies required that each transaction sending money to Backpage have only a single input wallet address, we focused our analysis on those transactions, finding about 55,000 total. Using the shared hard identifier methodology, we found 30 wallets that satisfied our criteria, with each wallet connecting at least 2 hard identifiers. Of those wallets, 6 had all of its hard identifiers linked into one cluster. 10 of the wallets had entirely unlinked hard identifiers. In general, the majority of the wallets, 14, lay somewhere in between these two extremes. So based on these results, it seems that our SHI methodology is in fact successful at linking together hard identifiers with varying degrees of accuracy. The 6 wallets that are perfectly connected here represent very high-quality leads for law enforcement officers. The remaining 24 may be useful as well, but we can't confirm that because of the restrictions in our evaluation methodology. So to get a better sense of what we might learn from these wallets with linked hard identifiers, we analyzed each such wallet found. Here's an example of one of them. It linked together 5 hard identifiers consisting of 36 phone numbers and spent more than $165,000 on about 6,000 ads just during the 4-week scrape. The ads were posted across 28 regions and all exclusively advertised young Asian women. This wallet is a great example of the kind of new information and insight a law enforcement officer could get using our tools. Each hard identifier separately looks fairly typical, but when put together, suddenly we see behavior that looks a lot more like trafficking. Using the persistent Bitcoin identity methodology, in total we found 47 wallets that satisfied our criteria, with each wallet containing at least 2 exact match transactions and ads. Of those wallets, 6 of them had all 100% of their non-exact match transactions matched to a set of ads where exactly one of those ads shared the same hard identifier as at least one of the exact match ads. Most of the wallets had 0% of their transactions matched in this way. When looking at just the exact match ads, we were really surprised to see that only 6 wallets had the exact match ads share the same hard identifier as each other. In fact, those were the same 6 wallets that had all 100% of their remaining non-exact match transactions matched perfectly from this previous table. So it seems that our PBI methodology can work extremely well, finding those 6 wallets and the exact ads the transaction paid for, but only for a limited set of wallets. It's important to remember, though, that these tools are ultimately intended for law enforcement use. Just like with the SHI methodology, these 6 wallets represent high-quality leads for the law enforcement officers. The remaining 41 may be useful, but we can't confirm that. So again, we analyzed each of these 6 highly accurate wallets to get a sense of what we could learn about their owners. Here's an example. This one's a lot smaller than the other. The owner spent $24 on 7 ads across 5 different regions, using the same email address in each of those ads. So in general, we found that this methodology finds these smaller owners. Each of the 6 wallets placed no more than 30 ads across the 4-week scrape. So our results are promising, but there's a lot of future work to be done. First, for both of the methodologies, we want to tackle the problem of false positives and false negatives in matching transactions to ads. One way we intend to do this is by attempting to disambiguate between those transactions on the blockchain that are purchasing credit for Backpage versus those that are actually paying for an ad in real time. In that same vein, we're currently checking the results of our PBI methodology, specifically those wallets where the exact match ads didn't share a hard identifier. We're looking into whether there's any other link that might indicate these ads come from the same owner, for example, a shared image post. And we're also currently talking with law enforcement officers to see if they can verify any of the connections we found. We also plan to expand our work to non-persistent wallets, other cryptocurrencies, and other websites that advertise sexual service. In this work, we built several tools and techniques to group sex ads by owner. We evaluated our work on real-world data. We are able to accurately link ads to the transactions that paid for them, and to the best of our knowledge, are the first work to attempt to do so. Our methodologies are able to connect previously unlinked hard identifiers, as well as pull out smaller owners of ads. We are currently communicating with various NGOs and law enforcement officers to deploy our tools to help fight human trafficking. Thank you very much for your time. Happy to take any questions.
Thank the speaker.